Welcome back to the Weeknight Mysteries podcast. My name is Yuras and I'm here with my co-host Rain. How are you today?
All good as always, as per every episode. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
And what are we going to talk about?
Today I wanted to discuss the Skye Budnick disappearance case. I ran across this case and it was really interesting to me, so I kind of wanted to, share my thoughts on it and then ask your opinion on certain details about the case.
This is different from of regular cases because it happened in a foreign country, right?
I mean, the
disappearance.
Yeah, the person who we are going to be talking about, she is a 21-year-old girl. Well, she was 21 at the time of her disappearance back in 2008, Skye Budnick, and she went missing in Japan, even though she is from Connecticut in the States.
Other side of the world. Makes it even harder.
Yes. So let's jump into the story. The family of a 21-year-old who vanished after buying a one-way ticket to Japan and leaving without telling anyone have made a plea to social media as they admit they're still looking for answers after 16 years. So I'm reading an article because this case happened 16 years ago. This is a recent Daily Times, Daily Mail, I think. Daily Mail, right?
It could be Daily Mail, yeah.
Yeah, it's
from
Daily Mail article. Skye Budnick from Connecticut alarmed loved ones when she went missing in April of 2008, having taken little to nothing with her as she left. Despite nearly 2 decades of the disappearance, her mother Suzanne and her sister Megan have been met with bureaucratic roadblocks, leaving them with more questions than answers, as described in their GoFundMe page to help the family seek some answers. The family refuses to give up hope, and they remain determined to uncover the truth behind Skye's disappearance. Skye Budnick, she disappeared in pretty strange circumstances. She apparently booked a one-way ticket to Japan in April of 2008, and she never returned back home. No one knew about the ticket. No one knew that she booked it.
I read an article that says that her family did not know how she managed to purchase the ticket. Do you know, or do you have any information if she had a job? All I know is that she was in college, junior year, but I wasn't sure if she had a job prior her disappearance.
She did have a job.
Oh.
I think it was mentioned in some sources that she was working in a grocery store.
Oh, I see. So now we knew that she definitely saved up for that trip.
She definitely had access to money. As I understand.
Yeah, but a ticket to Japan from the US is not cheap. You definitely have to save up for it.
So I think she paid around $800 for the ticket. And another strange detail is that Skye had never left the state of Connecticut on her own before. And now she all of a sudden booked a one-way ticket to Japan in 2008.
And growing up, she's always been passionate about the country of Japan, right?
She has been studying Japanese, as I understand. So I think that trip was a personal trip. It most likely held some sort of a personal meaning for Skye when she left. She also had, as I understand, and we will jump into the timeline to kind of, go into the details a little bit more in a little bit. As I understand, she had booked a ticket in late 2007, but then she canceled it. And then she booked another one in April of 2008. So, in general, it seems like this was a premeditated idea for Skye.
Yeah, it seems so. Mainly because if I remember correctly, a couple of articles that I've read as well mentioned that she has always been passionate about the country of Japan. She loved the culture, the anime, and so on. And then growing up, because of that, she was alienated in her high school.
Yes, that's another information that I've seen about Skye is that she did not have a lot of friends in high school, but she actually was able to meet some like-minded people as she was in college already.
Studying the language.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
People who would study Japanese language, they probably
Aim to live in there at one point of their lives or forever.
or they're at least interested in the culture, like anime and things like that. So
Enough to study the language in college.
exactly, and Skye was actually part of forums online, and they were discussing anime and Japanese culture. And on top of that, she had made some posts that we will be reviewing. Her personal entries in online forums that some people are, at least on Reddit, some people are thinking that could potentially, how should I put it, paint a better picture why she left Japan, and on top of that suggest of some potential outcomes here, because Skye has essentially been completely missing for 16 years. There has been no sightings of her as far as I'm aware. There has been no online presence, no bank cards have been used, and it seems like once she landed in Japan, well, she was spotted in Japan a few times, and we have information now that Skye did in fact live in a few hotels, and she did spend at least a few days in Japan, but after a couple of days in Japan, her trail is completely gone. And there are a few interesting theories floating around here, and I kind of want to bring them up for you and for the audience members listening to, I don't know, maybe generate some discussion, even in the YouTube chat, and to see if we could maybe come to some conclusion.
Yeah.
I think the best way to tackle this case would be for us to start off with a timeline of events, because I think it will paint a better picture. Let me just pull out my timeline here. Maybe you could fill in the air for like 2 seconds.
Okay, I've been thinking about this as you were telling me that she booked the one-way ticket to Japan. How did she manage to go in? I know she had an American passport, which is pretty strong, and she didn't need a visa per se. However, if you go to another country, wouldn't they ask you for a return flight back? Or like somewhere else? You need the proof that you will leave the country.
Maybe not for American citizens.
Really? It's
Because
pretty interesting though.
No, because maybe Japan doesn't necessarily want you to leave immediately when you're an American. Maybe an American, I don't know like what the passport of Americans allows them to do in Japan, but I don't think you need to provide proof that you're leaving immediately when you're an American. I understand.
You've been in another foreign country, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to provide a return flight back?
No,
Not necessarily.
never.
So it's not a common thing, I see.
No, I think it's just for the, let's say, less fortunate passport holders of the world. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I understand.
You know? So I don't think in America you have to provide, well, for an American citizen, I don't think you have to provide proof that you're leaving the country. Regardless, let's start off with the timeline and let's kind of try to figure out what's happening in this case. So let's start off with the end of 2007. Skye begins to message her friends on Facebook to see if they want to buy collectibles and possessions of her. So sort of indicating that she is either trying to generate additional money or she's trying to give away her belongings before she, disappears.
Right? Actually, it could be both. It could be either one, or it could be both, honestly.
Let's jump to January of 2008. Skye misses or cancels, I guess it's not really known for sure, her first trip to Japan. The ticket price is not refunded. Skye's mom receives a courtesy call notifying her of the missed or cancelled flight. When Skye was asked about this, she claimed that she was looking into flights for her friend. So I assume she probably had to lie to her mother. But this is interesting to me because already in January, Skye seems like she is about to go somewhere.
Yeah.
The third month is what? What comes after February? I know I sound
March.
really stupid right now. March, okay. March 25th. March 25th. A friend of hers reaches out to her via a Facebook Messenger message to call out Skye for belittling her Japanese skills. Skye and her friend talk, and Skye apologizes. They make up. Also, on the same day, on the 25th of March, right? On the 25th of March, a $10 charge from a travel agency is posted to Skye's bank account, indicating that the booking process was started or completed for a new ticket to Japan. This means that on the same day that she had that altercation with one of her friends on Facebook, she used a travel agency which charged her $10 to book another flight to Japan.
Wait, so now do you think that altercation actually pushed Skye to book that ticket to Japan?
I think there's a possibility that it's somehow connected.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
The following day, on the 26th of March, Skye thanks the friend that she had fought with earlier the previous day for being such a good friend on Messenger. Also, on the 26th, a $737 charge for airfare is posted on Skye's bank account. So we know that she had paid nearly $800 for the flight. 5 days later, on the 31st of March, the last day of the month, Skye asked her mother to make the black and white cupcakes one last time.
She really did say that.
Yeah.
Mom, can you make the black and white cupcakes one last time?
Yeah, and I don't understand why the mom not necessarily raises any suspicions at this time. It's strange. It's a strange request.
That's true.
Why one last time?
Okay, proceed.
The next day, Skye tells her family that she plans to spend the night at her friend's house. But this is a cover story. In reality, she boards a one-way flight to Japan with connections in Washington, D.C. and Tokyo Narita Airport. So she connects in Washington, D.C. Airport. She then withdraws $800 from an ATM in Washington, D.C. at her layover, and then she leaves an additional $400 remaining in her bank account. Skye leaves Washington, D.C. Airport, and the following day arrives in Tokyo for a layover at Narita Airport. Skye then departs Narita Airport from Tokyo to Sapporo Chitose Airport. Sapporo is the biggest city in Hokkaido. Hokkaido is the most northern island in Japan. It's not the big banana-shaped island where Tokyo is at. It's their northern island, and Sapporo is a very big city. It has over 2 million people, and it's the center for the whole island of Hokkaido. So she arrives in Hokkaido Airport. She arrives there at around almost 8 p.m. in the evening. A man reported helping Skye purchase a train ticket. Skye's demeanor is reported to be upset during this interaction. And we do not, as I understand, we do not know exactly to which destination the train would take her, but it's heavily speculated that it was going to take her to a city called Noboribetsu. Noboribetsu is a southern city. It's a small city in the southern part of Hokkaido Island. It's a very small city. It only has 50,000 people living there, according to Wikipedia. And also, Noboribetsu is known for its hot springs kind of attractions. So you have a lot of resorts built around the hot springs in that city.
I'm actually looking at it, and it's a spa town. One of the famous spa town in that city. And it's actually really, really beautiful.
In the island, you mean?
Oh yeah, in the island, it's beautiful.
So
I can't even begin to explain it because it just looks like a wallpaper.
exactly. Why would Skye go here?
To breathe, probably. It looks out of this world. Honestly, it looks like you would go here to forget a little bit.
Forget about what? Your problems back home?
In general, yes.
Okay. So we don't know exactly where Skye stayed on the 2nd and on the 3rd of April. April is the 4th month, right?
Don't worry.
I feel so stupid right now, but okay. Let's just
No, it's all
proceed.
good. You know the names of the months in Lithuanian.
Nope.
Okay, moving forward.
Yeah, let's go. So we know that the 2nd and the 3rd, we don't know exactly where she stayed. I assume that actually, it's a big mystery. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna assume where Skye stayed on the 2nd and on the 3rd of April, because she arrived on the 2nd of April, but late in the evening. So she took a train, but we have no idea where she stayed for the 2nd and the 3rd days of April. But we do know from records where she stayed on the 4th day of April. So Skye, apparently on the 4th day of April, she spent the night at a hotel or one of those resorts called Kiyomizuwa Ryokan in Noboribetsu. And she spent in total 2 days there. She also spent April 5th in that same resort.
Okay, 1 second before we proceed. I was kind of searching what Noboribetsu is known for on the side, and I came across a Reddit post wherein it says Skye Budnick discussion, Reddit thread, and someone posted...
I've been there.
Yeah. Someone posted that Noboribetsu is actually a demon town, saying that it's known for the demon folklore and spirits and demons, and apparently it's known as the Hell Valley or Demon Town, and it's said that demons there are the guardians of the hot springs. And apparently, according to this Reddit post, Skye was super into demon folklore. So that could be her intention to visit the Hell Valley.
Yes, that could be the connection. Good catch. I didn't see that one. Also, I would like to mention that on the 6th day of April, we know that Skye spent the night at another resort in the greater Noboribetsu area. The resort was called Suzuki Ryokan. And she spent 1 night there. And the following day, on April 7th of 2008, was the last time that Skye was ever seen alive. She was last seen checking out of Suzuki Ryokan Hotel. And she made a comment to the inn worker about heading back to Sapporo. According to the inn worker, she did not seem depressed and had no indications of self-harm at that point. By this time, her family had already been notified. Well, her family found out that Skye left for Japan only a couple of days after she already left, when her brother used his computer to access Skye's email.
Okay.
And he had seen the receipt for the flight to Japan. So her family members immediately flew to Japan upon hearing this news, and they were in contact with the local authorities, and they also had done a press conference in Tokyo.
Okay.
But that is pretty much it. This is the extended timeline of Skye's disappearance, and we have no idea what happened to Skye after April 7th. We have no idea if she actually went to Sapporo. There's no indications as to where she is or what has happened to her ever since.
You know what makes this really interesting for me is that we all know that Japan is the home of the Asians or like the people with dark hair, darker
Home
features.
of the Asians?
Yeah, like Japanese people, sorry.
Home of the Asians. Okay.
No, like I'm just trying to word it in a way that it's not going to offend anyone.
And
I just wanted.
and you probably failed.
I most likely failed. It's okay. I'm an Asian myself.
Yeah,
maybe.
home of the Asians. Well,
Sorry.
you're not from the home of the Asians.
Anyways, going back, I just wanted to say that Skye would have stood out easily.
Oh, definitely.
And people would have, if they ever saw her, they would have made a connection. Yeah?
On top of that, I actually saw someone commenting about this exact thing on Reddit, and they said that especially in a place like Noboribetsu, she would have stood out a lot. She might not stand out in a big city that
Like
much.
Tokyo.
Yeah, because all kinds of nationalities and races of people are there.
Racist? Sorry.
No, races, not
Okay.
racists. Races. You know what I'm saying? Okay? But in Noboribetsu, apparently she, being a white 5'6" female, she would really stand out quite a lot.
And so the locals, if they ever saw her passing by, they would have taken a note, or if she appears on like the television, they would have known. So someone would report her that like we've seen her passing by, but the most curious thing is that nobody did.
After the 7th, there's no information, and that is
Exactly.
actually a good point. And I've looked into the map where this Suzuki Ryokan is located, and it is really quite far away at this point from the Noboribetsu center. It's kind of more into the mainland or like inland quite a bit, and it's in a more rural area. You still have roads and you still
Yeah.
have buildings, but it's not a city anymore.
Do you think she made it to Noboribetsu?
Back to Noboribetsu, I don't know. I have no idea, actually. So the few things that jumped out to me from the timeline, and I think some of the listeners already picked up on some of these, is the first thing that kind of was interesting to me is that she booked the flight on the same day as her friend on Facebook confronted her. And I feel like there must be some sort of a connection there.
And then the next day she sent a thank you for being a good friend.
A good friend, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a connection there. It seems like the thank you message is kind of like a goodbye, a
Yeah.
subtle goodbye.
Yes, and then she told her mother that she wants to have black and white cupcakes one last time. To me, this indicates that she had already made her mind up that she's really going to Japan.
I think you also forgot to mention that her sister claims that Skye had depression or symptoms of depression. She wasn't fully, she wasn't clinically depressed, like she wasn't diagnosed with it, but all the signs were there.
Yeah. another thing is that jumped to me personally is that she took out around $800 in Washington, but she had left $400 in her bank account. So to me, this kind of is maybe interesting because in total she had $1,200 in her bank account. Why would she take 800 out and leave 400 behind?
It could be, so sorry, it could be just to keep the bank account open. Or it could be the safety money. Just for example, she, I don't know, lost the 800 or someone stole it or something. At least she has 400.
That's a good point.
I only mention that because I did it like multiple times when I'm traveling to another country. And for example, I like gonna live in another country. I would usually not empty my current bank account. I would just leave a little bit there.
I get that point, but also you are at this point an experienced traveler, or definitely more experienced than Skye, who had not even left the state of Connecticut by the time she had went missing. So do you think Skye would have the know-how or the awareness, rationality to leave safety money in the bank account?
Honestly, this trip seemed to be well planned beforehand.
Exactly. And this is where maybe I'm jumping ahead a little bit of myself, but one of the theories that the family members believe, and they must know better than anyone, that they believe that Skye had help. They believe that someone helped Skye to organize this whole trip.
You meant a Japanese person?
Potentially a Japanese person or someone in
who's
America,
been living there,
or someone that she met online that had potentially lured her to Japan.
But she wasn't seen with anyone, right?
No, I believe she was only reported alone. She was not seen with anyone, but maybe she was trying to meet someone in Hokkaido.
It's interesting though because she kept on like moving places, and they're
almost like waiting for someone,
or just taking something off her bucket list. Honestly,
maybe
because
I don't know about
now I'm thinking is that she lived or she stayed in multiple areas at once, but she was never seen with someone.
Yes. She was always alone,
See?
as far as I can see from the information that I was able to find online. She was always alone. She was never with any other people.
Yeah, so I'm assuming if she's actually, or she met up with a local, she would either stay at their place and not rent out, or like book a hotel, or there would be someone that was seen with her.
Yeah. I agree with that. Let's jump to some other interesting information that I found here. Well, especially on the Reddit thread. It kind of jumped to me personally, and I think could potentially paint a picture of what is happening to Skye. So, some people suspect, and this is just a theory, that Skye Budnick could have been experiencing gender dysphoria at the time of her disappearance.
Okay, kindly explain.
So there are a few screenshots that have been taken from posts made by Skye on online forums where she kind of indicates that maybe she's not fully comfortable being a female. So I'm gonna read a few of them and you tell me what you think. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. This is from 2004, so you have to take into consideration that this is when she was 16, 4 years before she went missing. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so this is just on the forum board. Okay. Well, if I knew how to do the quotey thing, this would be easier, but I suppose since many of the topics on here have not interested me that much, I just haven't bothered posting. Next, I felt it would be a bit intrusive for someone who doesn't yet feel as if they belong to start something that was basically an idea started by another person that bunch of people have already stolen. And well, you see, I'm the weird kind of person who doesn't like the gender that creation had forced me into. So whenever I get a chance, I take the advantage to be the other gender. But if I had to choose, I'd probably want to be a gay guy or some asexual creature. So despite what it says, I'm physically female. Wow, I babble. What do you make of this post?
That post seemed pretty clear. That she's not comfortable in the gender in her own gender.
Yeah, why else would she leave this comment?
Exactly, yeah.
It's obvious that at 16
It's clear cut.
she wanted to be a gay guy. Obviously, 16.
Or an asexual person.
You could say that at 16, Skye was just still finding herself.
No.
You don't think so?
I doubt that.
You think she already had that mindset, let's say,
See, it's hard to word things out.
what?
I guess maybe. Damn, this is hard to say. Maybe she find it uncomfortable to come out at that age.
Oh, of course.
And
I
at 2004.
I think so.
And do you think she was struggling with that?
Of course. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that she was struggling with that, in my opinion.
And do you think it contributed to the depression?
Yeah, I think so. I think she didn't fit the norm of a regular 16-year-old girl. And I think that was stressing her out.
Yeah, definitely. For someone in America who is insanely interested in the culture of Japan, she's basically on the other side of the globe, basically on the other side of where she wanted to be.
Yeah. Another post. This is from 1 year later. Whoa, one vote for who I am. That oddly enough makes me happy. Well, let's see. I am the Crime Son Misty. That's just her nickname on the forum. I vow to bring havoc and chaos to all the world. I'm just some person who really feels like they serve no purpose in being here, but I suppose if I'm bored, I come and randomly post, which happens almost every day. Gee, I'm bored often. I also spend my boredom drawing pointless stick figure comics, but I have no idea what this has to do with anything. I also enjoy hiding my true gender, and I'm a member number 30. So I enjoy hiding my true gender. So she pretends to be male on the forum.
Oh, I see. I got a little confused there for a second.
And she's already 17, as I understand, in 2005. And the last post, and this is actually her latest post, I believe. It's also from 2005. And I think it's still in the same post. And she says that, okay, seeing that only 2 of you will ever be able to find me, I guess I'll go along. And I think this was a threaded post where, like a thread where everyone was kind of like telling who they are in real life. There was a bunch of people pretending to be something else on the forum, and now there was a thread where they were all gonna spill the beans, like identify themselves.
Yes.
So she identifies. Name: Skye Budnick. Location: USA, Suddington, Connecticut. Favorite Pokemon: Mew, Quagsquire, Lantern. Age: 17. Gender: physically female. Sigh. Favorite music, Asian rock. Favorite band artist, Dir and Grey, Psycho Leximu, MUCC, Despairs Ray, Gact, EV, Occupation, Hopefully Future Ruler of the Universe, Siblings, 2. Older brother and sister. Sister 21, brother no idea, but he's the oldest.
I like her.
Boyfriend of there are so many boyfriends. Actually, no, only in my imagination. Only in my imagination. I'm rather antisocial. I like guys from video games, anime, and Asian bands, the kind that I'll probably never touch. Other interests. Devising plans of world domination, creating a world of make-believe in which I can escape from society, reading manga, watching anime, playing video games. And that's pretty much it. So she basically said, gender, physically female side.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of, once more, indicates that she doesn't necessarily enjoys that fact.
Yeah, I don't know, but from that post, she sounded like she's full of life, but she was just alienated.
And this was 3 years before she vanished.
Yeah, she had a good sense of humor, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And she seemed like a generally interesting person. It's just unfortunate how the people around her were alienating her.
I do wonder what her family life was like.
I think it's pretty normal.
I've never been able to find this information.
I've seen, I believe, a website that was created, or like a podcast created by her sister. And from the pictures there, it seemed like they were really generally caring. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
just assuming here.
I'm just wondering, if she felt like she had to hide something from her own parents, That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now that that's done, I have another interesting kind of Reddit thread that I want to talk a little bit about in connection to Skye's disappearance. There had been another woman who vanished in a similar location.
Wait, what?
But this happened a few years after.
But still.
36-year-old woman called Sasaki Sayuri from Chitose, which is in Hokkaido, another city, went missing after going for a walk in the hot springs of Karurusu Onsen, Noboribetsu. She was with her mother and her sister and went missing around noon on the 24th or the 25th of May, from the 24th to 25th of May 2015, 7 years later. Searches were done by the police, but no traces of her have ever been found or any of her belongings. So naturally I tried finding more information about this particular case. And there's not a lot of information in English, or actually even in Japanese for that matter as well. So I think we can't necessarily build any sort of strong connection other than, I guess, circumstances, because it was a similar location. But there was another person who made an interesting comment in Reddit, and they basically said that they believe that there is a chance that... I'm trying to figure this one out. I'll just read a comment if you don't mind.
Of course not.
Okay, so the comment goes, could we say that this lady went missing about 24th of May 2015, while Skye Budnick went missing around 7th of April? Looking at photographs, there was still snow in the hills. Could different places to walk be melting around that particular town, and they fell through ice by accident and sank to the bottom?
I was actually gonna mention that.
The same theory?
No, not the same theory per se, but something similar. Like perhaps, is there a possibility that she might have been lost in a forest over there, and just never found her way
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Because this was 2008. So I think, Google Maps, I don't really remember because in 2008, I don't think I had.
Flip phones?
Yeah, but I don't think I was able to access Google Maps in 2008.
No, I don't think
At least
so.
me personally. I don't know about Skye though.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
strange.
it seems like the first theory here is self-harm, if you know what I mean.
Yes, of course.
But what if there's actually a possibility that she was just having an adventure of her own? And somewhere along the way, something unfortunate happened, per se.
I have a hard feeling, a hard time believing that it was an accident, mainly because Skye didn't have a way to go back home to America. She did not have a flight back, and she didn't have
Enough money
to go back. Yeah, so
That's very interesting.
That's the only reason I'm personally leaning here. Either that she committed self-harm, or she met someone, and for one reason or another, we have never heard from her ever since she met that person.
But why though?
No, that person could have been a killer.
Oh.
That person could have been a killer. She could have been forced into a situation that she did not want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Or Skye may have chosen to stay under the radar for.
How though? Once again, she would stand out. If she's still in Japan right now, someone would have seen her.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. If you live in those smaller mountain cities, I think there's a chance that the local Japanese people that are living there, that they maybe have never even heard about Skye's case. Japan is such a massive country, and I don't know if Skye's disappearance made headlines in Japan. They had the press conference in Tokyo, and maybe her disappearance was mentioned, but I don't think that she made headlines to the point where she's like the Madeleine McCann of Japan, that everyone has seen her face.
Okay.
I think actually putting her face out to more people in Japan, especially in Hokkaido, would be
Beneficial.
yeah, beneficial at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if that has been done by the local authorities there, but I would like to maybe see that happen. What do you think? Do you think that there's a
Definitely.
chance that she could be living under the radar in Japan all these years later?
I just can't see her hiding from her family, like without any contact for years.
But to me, her whole demeanor, and I don't want to be disrespectful here,
But seems like she has a life on her own.
she seems like she has a different life, and she had a different life, a life that she was building in her mind for years. So she's not the typical person to go missing. I think it's not out of the it's not completely out of the question that she would actually stay there. Because look, she already didn't buy a ticket back.
But just like that though. And even decades after.
I don't think it was just like that. It was premeditated for a long time. Remember, she already had a flight that she canceled in January.
Mm-hmm.
So she had been thinking this for a month. She had been thinking about this for a month. So I think it has been premeditated for a very long time. It's not just happening on the spot. What do you think? Do you think that it's out of the question?
No, of course not. There's always a possibility of everything. However, in this scenario, I'm leaning towards the other theory, the most popular one.
That she committed self-harm.
Yes.
All right. So another theory is Johatsu, and we talked about it before the recording kind of failed.
Hopefully it doesn't sound so bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We only got like a couple of minutes of
Just you talking.
just me talking, kind of lost forever. But what we talked about when we weren't actually recording, we were talking about the theory called Johatsu. Johatsu is a thing that happens in Japan where people that want to escape their current life, they go to people who provide such services, and for some money, for some fee, they will make you disappear. I don't know what exactly that means, but I think they will give you maybe a new name. They will relocate you somehow, and you could basically just live as a shadow person, as a person who runs away from their family, and their family have no idea what happened to that person. So I think there's people who have been committing Johatsu in Japan, and we were talking about how is it possible that the people who provide Johatsu services, would they actually provide services to Skye, who was an American person?
And I did say that for an American person, she does speak Japanese and she could have easily convinced them.
Yeah.
And I believe you mentioned that, yeah, she could have been an English teacher.
Yeah. Why not, right? But then you said something interesting right after. You said that you don't think that Skye is alive anymore. At least that's how you're leaning towards, right?
Yeah.
You think that she committed self-harm in Japan.
I think so. Everything about it, everything leading up to her disappearance kind of seemed finalized. Like,
Last cupcakes.
and
Saying to the friend that you're a good friend and
Yep.
thank you for being a good friend.
the flight to Japan, but no flights going back.
Yeah.
And then it honestly just seemed to me like she wanted to see Japan before she goes. But then again, there could be a possibility that she actually just went to a forest and just got lost there.
Yeah. But you don't think that she's living a second life in Japan?
I don't think so. It seemed really complicated. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her because she seemed extremely smart. But at the same time, sometimes in cases, the simplest answers are usually the
Yeah.
truth or what actually happened. And in this scenario, Johatsu just seemed,
Very complicated.
yeah.
It's
'Cause-
lower likelihood in my opinion.
Yeah, and if she was a local, then yeah, there's a huge possibility. But it's just that for someone who was from the other side of the world, saved up for a trip to Japan, and then go through all of that, it seemed a little too complicated, especially for someone her age.
Yeah. You know what? I think that this case has captured my attention to the point where I kind of want to take a second look. Me personally, I want to take a look around Suzuki Ryokan Hotel a little bit more. And I do want to dig around a little bit on the Reddit about this case, because some people, I think that's the general notion about people that are kind of investigating online, is that they somehow don't feel like she just went there to do, self-harm. People really think that there's a possibility that she met someone. And I do see how that could work, because it was a person who had never left Connecticut, and now she goes to Japan and she's buying train tickets, she's booking hotels. So she's doing a lot of things on her own.
Yeah, that's true.
And going to Japan
Could be scary.
could be scary for anyone,
Oh yeah,
especially
definitely.
alone.
And for a teenager.
For a teenager, yeah. So I think there is a good chance that
Someone lured her in.
or she met, or someone knows some more information, and they're not coming forward. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance that someone knows more about this whole ordeal. Someone maybe had communicated with her and helped her out with this whole plan.
Do you think there's a possibility that she actually met someone along the way in the rural town that she was in and did something bad?
I would say that she already had met that person even before, in my opinion. It's because I think she already wanted to go there for a long time, and I think she had been talking with someone. You think that there's a chance that she met some local person in Nobari-betsu or Sapporo?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there is a chance.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, of course. But to me personally, it seems like there could be a chance that she met someone online. And that for
That
one
gave her
reason,
a push
a push. But
to go to Japan.
But to do what? You
Live
know?
with them? Live there?
There were cases of people from Japan luring people from all over the world to go to Japan and to commit self-harm with them, telling the other person that I will also do it with you. Come to Japan, we'll do it together. But what actually ends up happening is that person ends up killing that person who comes to Japan.
Oh my gosh, I just had goosebumps. That's really creepy.
Yeah, it's just a killer luring people to kill them.
Oh my gosh, that's really creepy.
And this is a real case that happened in the real world. It's not a theory. So that's also something to think about.
Yeah, in this case though, going back to this case, I think we need more information about what happened in that local area.
More information about the local area, and also I would like to know more about Skye and her relationship with her family and her relationship with her friends.
Well, we all know she was alienated in high school, but I want to know more about her uni friends.
Yes, I agree. I want to know more about the people that she was in contact with before she went missing. But for this one, I would like to stop it here, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Because everything else would be just kind of speculation. I think we kind of talked about everything that we wanted to talk about. Please leave a comment, our dear listeners, about what you think happened to Skye, and if we missed something, and maybe you have some insights.
Yeah, please let us know.
And we will talk to you soon, and we are very... Actually, I'm personally more than willing to come back to Skye's case.
Definitely. And maybe one day we could even go to Japan.
Go to Japan, go to Hokkaido.
And follow her footsteps.
No, just to check it out. I mean, why not?
I mean,
right?
if we're gonna go there anyways.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And we will talk to you very soon. We're trying to do 2 podcasts per week again. We're trying to get back on our good track, and hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.